you recognize the weight, don't you? That persistent intuition that you are navigating a reality designed for someone else entirely. It is as if a universal blueprint for existence was distributed to everyone, yet your copy vanished into the void. You observe human interactions as if they were rehearsed theater. You detect the desperation beneath the laughter, the anxiety posing as arrogance, and the heavy sorrow masked by social prestige. Worst of all, you have begun to suspect that your internal machinery is fundamentally broken. It isn't. What if I revealed that Carl Jung categorized exactly what is happening to you? He identified the traits so exceptional that most individuals will traverse their entire lifespan without ever encountering its bearer. This is a level of awareness so intense it challenges the very scaffolding of modern life. You are about to learn why your perceived effect is actually a rare frequency. Once you grasp the mechanics of what you are experiencing, everything, the chronic fatigue, the social alienation, the visceral rejection of the mundane, will finally align. But before we explore the initial indicator, I must offer a warning. The information ahead might destabilize you. Once these psychological structures are revealed, they cannot be hidden again. Once you embrace your rarity, the mask of being average will no longer fit. Are you prepared for that level of clarity? Jung labeled this dangerous perception. If you possess it, you already feel the burn. You do not merely observe people, you penetrate their facade. Their speech offers one narrative, but their subtle facial shifts betray the truth. Their stories project triumph, but their vibration signals a quiet agony. You hear what is unspoken more clearly than what is said. This is the opening sign. You digest reality at a depth that would shatter a standard mind. Reflect on your most recent dialogue. While the other person celebrated a career move, you sense the spiritual sacrifice they made for it. While they tooted their romance, you felt the isolation they were drowning in. You never requested this psychic X-ray vision. You cannot deactivate it, and it is slowly eroding your peace. Here is what Jung grasped. When you perceive this much truth, you become a living mirror. And mirrors are terrifying to those who spend their lives fleeing their own image. That static in the air when you enter a room isn't a figment of your imagination. That is their subconscious realizing you have spotted their shadow, the buried traits they have convinced themselves don't exist. Your presence is a silent interrogation they aren't equipped to answer. They wonder why you won't play the game. Rather than confront that inquiry, they label you the problem. You are too heavy. You analyze too much. Why can't you just participate? But you cannot participate because normalcy requires endorsing a surface-level hallucination. Normalcy means betraying the very essence that defines you. This dangerous insight is actually hinting at a more profound truth about your spirit. It explains why shallow interactions feel like starving in a banquet hall. This leads us to the second indicator, which is perhaps the most agonizing. You are constitutionally incapable of tolerating the superficial. Small talk is akin to mental incarceration. Casual acquaintances leave you more depleted than total solitude. You hunger for dialogues that skip the pleasantries and plunge into the core. You long for bonds where masks are not just optional, but impossible to maintain. Jung saw this friction clearly. He noted that rare souls exist in a state of permanent existential pressure. You cannot join the collective sleep, yet you cannot fully detach either. You are suspended between dimensions too conscious to dream, too terrestrial to fly. But here is the dark side nobody mentions. This death is your prison. While you ache for genuine intimacy, the majority are satisfied with psychological junk food. They seek comfort over truth. They want applause, not evolution. They want to remain safely numb. When you refuse to provide that cushion, they view you as a hazard. Think of the connections you have severed, not due to conflict, but because you lost the ability to pretend. You couldn't fake interest in trivial gossip or the climate when your heart was screaming to discuss the purpose of our existence. This isn't ego, this is survival. For your specific consciousness, shallow engagement doesn't just bore you, it siphons your vital energy. You have likely spotted something else too, an exhaustion that transcends physical tiredness, a sensation of carrying burdens that aren't your own. That is because you are. This third sign is where Jung's research borders on the metaphysical. Now we enter the shadows. The third indicator, you are a psychic sponge. Not just for ideas, but for everything. The hidden fury of others, their stifled mourning, their suppressed appetites. You aren't just watching. You are an alchemist, unintentionally filtering the mental waste of your environment. Jung called this participation mystique, a state where personal borders vanish and you blend with the collective. For most, this is a rare event. For you, it is the background noise of your life. That sudden gloom that arrives from nowhere, it likely isn't yours. That tightness in your chest, you may have caught it from the stranger on the bus. That inexplicable anger could be the ghost of everyone you passed today. This is why you crave isolation. Not because you hate people, but because you need to separate your identity from the noise. You need quiet to recognize your own pulse again. But here is the harsh reality. This absorption can be a drug. When you are submerged in the emotions of others, you don't have to look at your own void. When you are fixing everyone else, you avoid the work within. You become the eternal therapist, the guardian, the anchor, and your own soul becomes a stranger to you. That is when the true conflict starts. Not with society, but with your mirror. Being this rare means living with a fracture that pulls at you every hour. If these signs resonate, you must join our circle at Shadow of Minds. Subscribe now, because we are just scratching the surface of this mystery. Click it. We will need this connection for the path ahead. The fourth sign is the deepest cut. You are waging a secret war between your essence and the version the world demands. Jung knew that people like you live with a fundamental divide. Your raw self is too potent for general consumption. So you fragment. The work version, the social version, the family version, all calculated roles, all draining, none of them authentic. Every mask is a minor treason against your soul. Each time you dim your light to fit in, you desert your nature. Every second you act normal, you validate the lie that your truth is unacceptable. This divide triggers symptoms that medicine fails to map. A fatigue no sleep can cure, because your spirit is tired of performing. An anxiety that strikes without cause as your real self screams for oxygen. A sadness that settles like lead the morning of a life lived as a stranger. You aren't ill, you are suffocating. Jung understood that the very thing you hide, your intensity, your vision, is exactly what the planet is starving for. Every leap in human awareness came from someone who refused the standard view. Every shift began with a person too sensitive to tolerate the status quo. That is you. That is your function. But you cannot fulfill it while broken into pieces. The cost of maintaining these false personas is too high. Your biology knows it. Your spirit knows it. And deep down you know it too. Yet something mystical is occurring. While you fragment to survive, your true frequency is broadcasting a signal. And there are others tuned to it. This fifth sign enters territory where traditional science loses its footing. This brings us to the most enigmatic indicator. You identify your own kind instantly. It defies logic. You encounter someone, and within seconds you feel a frequency lock, a soul recognition, a sense of, there you are. Jung explored this through synchronicity. But it is more primal. It is like an internal antenna that only receives specific wavelengths. When you meet someone on your level, your entire being vibrates. Time distorts. The masks fall away without effort. You find yourself disclosing secrets you've never uttered. And they are listening as if they've been waiting for those exact words. These moments are rare. Perhaps you have had one or two. Maybe you are still hunting. But when they arrive, they justify everything. You aren't alone. You aren't broken. You aren't too much. You are simply rare. And rare recognizes rare. But here is the shadow. Once you have tasted that truth, everything else feels like a famine. Once you have been seen, staying invisible is torture. Your spirit won't accept the static anymore. This is why you distance yourself from people who ask you to be less. Why you choose solitude over the charade. Your soul has developed a standard, and that standard is linked to a massive objective, a mission that has been pulsing inside you since before you could speak. This mission isn't what you've been told. It is larger, stranger, and more vital than any career path. If you aren't subscribed yet, do so now, because this sixth sign changes the entire trajectory of your life. The sixth sign clarifies the struggle. You carry a mandate too large for a single life. Not a job, not a goal, a mandate. It burns in your marrow. It wakes you at dawn with insights too vast for language. It feels less like a preference and more like a cosmic order. Jung understood this weight. He argued that individuated people, those who have faced their shadow, carry a specific duty. They see what is broken in the world. They feel what needs to be born. But here is the trap. The very sensitivity that allows you to see this also makes it terrifying to execute. To do what you were born for, you must be fully yourself. And being yourself feels like social suicide. Your mission isn't comfortable. It isn't about traditional success. It is about being a bridge between the seen and unseen, about voicing what others suppress, healing what others ignore. This is why nothing feels like enough, why your achievements feel hollow. You aren't here to win, you are here to catalyze, to wake something up. But you cannot do that while you are hiding. Most people stop here. They feel the call, but fear the price. They settle for safety. Will you? Because there is one final sign, the one that decides if you fulfill your assignment or die wondering. The seventh sign is the most profound. Your deepest wound is actually your greatest power. Jung found that rare types often carry a sacred wound, a psychological injury that becomes their source of strength. Perhaps you were the child who felt too much, the one who saw through the family lies, the one who couldn't smile when the air was toxic. That sensitivity made you a target. But it is the same trait that lets you perceive what others miss. The isolation you endured forced you to build an inner kingdom. Your inability to fit in preserved your soul from the machine of conformity. Your wound taught you to navigate the dark, and now you can lead others through theirs. This is the ultimate alchemy. What fractured you is what let the light through. What made you an outcast made you unique. What wounded you is what eventually woke you up. But integration isn't about fixing the wound. It is about wearing it as a badge of initiation. It says, I survived the fire, and now I am a threat to every lie. This makes you a healer, not because you are flawless, but because you are real. We have reached the moment of truth. You recognize these markers, you feel the relief. But recognition is not change. You can know you are rare and still live like a shadow. Jung said the greatest privilege is becoming who you are. For you, it is a duty. The world doesn't need more adjusted people. It needs your intensity. The road isn't easy. People will recoil. Some will leave. But the right ones will arrive. Your real life is waiting under the masks. Your sensitivity is your weapon. Your depth is your gift. You were never meant to fit in. You were born to stand out. And now, finally, you understand why. Welcome home to your frequency. Welcome to the depths of shadow of minds. If you have made it this far, you're not here by accident. Videos like this don't find people randomly. They find people who are ready, ready to stop hiding, ready to start living as who they really are. This is your invitation to join the tribe of rare souls who refuse to dim their light, who choose depth over surface, truth over comfort, authenticity over approval. Subscribe to the channel right now, not tomorrow, not later, now, because this journey of understanding your rare nature, it's just beginning. Every week we go deeper into the mysteries Jung uncovered, the patterns that shape us, the truth that sets us free. Hit that notification bell too, because when you're this rare, you need consistent reminders that you're not alone, not crazy, not too much. You need a community that speaks your language. Drop a comment below, just 3 words, I am rare. Let it be your declaration, your first step into visibility. Watch how many others respond. Your tribe is bigger than you think. And share this video, not with everyone. They won't understand. Share it with that one person who you know is struggling with their intensity, who thinks they're broken because they can't do shallow, who needs to hear that their difference is their gift. Because in a world addicted to facades, your authenticity isn't just personal liberation, it's medicine for a dying world. and we need you to be exactly who you are. Welcome to your real life. Welcome home. Remember, you weren't born to fit in. You were born to stand out, and now you know why. See you in the depths.